That's all you needed. If it rolled forward and had a great radio, I just say simply, well, I got a good horse. We're the dark matter behind the stars out there that make them shine a little bit brighter. Hi, I'm Aaron Barker, and I'm here at the Bluebird Cafe today. This is Hook, Line, and Singer. Oh, it says, I know somewhere just above the clouds, you still got the best seat in the house. This hook came from the low cash. Well, they were low cash cowboys, I think, at the time, but they're low cash now. With these two came in, we got to write, and they're the neatest guys, and they're young and had all these great ideas. But one of them had recently lost their father, and he was saying how he wished that his father could see how good he's doing now, his success and everything, that he would have been so proud. And in that discussion, and I don't know who actually said it, if it was me or one of them, but that he is aware, he knows, he's watching, he's got the best seat in the house. So that was the inspiration behind that. They put that on what I think was their first album. It might have been their second, but they actually singled it, and we've remained really good friends. They're both such great guys. They're really different, their personalities, but I love them both, and this was such a great write that day. I don't co-write a lot. I do a lot of writing on my own, but something that powerful, that's that important to him, it wasn't hard to connect with that and slide in there with it and try to meet his expectations about that thought. And I think we did a great job. See what it is. Oh, yeah. $700 was a heck of a deal for a 400 horsepower jukebox on wheels. This comes out of a song called What About Now? And this was also co-written. And I had seen George Strait in a TV commercial. I had several hits on George already. And one night I heard him talking on the television. I turned around and looked, and there's George looking good, leaning against this beautiful Silverado truck talking about it. And I thought, man, he must be their new spokesperson. And he was for like a year or something. They've been a sponsor of his for a long time, but now he's doing their TV ads, but he wasn't singing in it. And I thought, he should be singing in that. That's what he does. So I thought, well, if I write something really strong about traveling or about trucks or something, that maybe he could incorporate it into his Chevy adventure, So I worked on this pretty hard, and that was one of the lines I came up with. I was just thinking about when you are young and you're looking for your first car and you find that deal, a cheap car with a powerful radio in it. That's all you needed. If it rolled forward and had a great radio. So that's where I was starting on this thing, to try to send to George that he could use in that commercial. George did not want to do this song. I was really disappointed, because I thought, well, it didn't sound like it does now after we worked on it together. The part I wrote by myself, George didn't want to do. Chevrolet company didn't want to do it, so it became a fire hazard in my drawer at home, just lyrics in the pile. But when I went into town one day to give Ron Harbin a CD, he was in there with Anthony Smith, and they were trying to write this big power ballad. This was in the days when I Hope You Dance was out, and I'm Already There, and Amazed, all these big power ballads. So they were trying to write something like that. They decided to use a drum machine to give it that powerful thing to write to, but that drum machine was on a fast tempo setting, and they couldn't slow it down. So they were frustrated, and they're explaining that. And while they're explaining it, I'm thinking, boy, that drum beat would go great with that Chevy commercial I wrote that nobody liked. And if we take y'all's idea and we put some of the words I had with that, we can probably get a song out of this. So that day, Ron Harbin, Anthony Smith, and myself took a broken power ballad, a broken drum machine, and a broken Chevy commercial, and wrote this song called What About Now? And a few months later, Lone Star recorded it, and it went #1 for like 7 weeks. I mean, it was huge. And again, it didn't sound anything like the Chevy commercial, man. They really spiced it up. Lone Star really did a great job. So it was a huge hit, and I'm happy because my Chevy commercial got salvaged. I'm happy because we had a #1. And about a year went by, and I got a call one day, and a guy said, "Hey, we'd like to use your song, What About Now, for a car commercial." It was Toyota, of all things. And they did. They used it on their national campaign for about a year. So it went full circle from supposed to be a car commercial to being a #1 song to being a car commercial. I used to, when I was in the band I was in for almost 18 years, back then we didn't have cell phones, and so even convenient recording devices. And I wanted to be the night driver. I drove the bus at night so I could think and get that highway trance thing you get in. And I wrote a lot of songs that way. But when I got an idea while driving, I would stop at a truck stop or side road somewhere where there was a pay telephone. I would call my home and put that idea on the answering machine. That way I could, as opposed to writing it down, because I can't write down a melody, I wanted the melody and everything on that machine. So when I got home, I had that idea and the melody I was thinking of on my answering machine. It's that important to document that stuff. And that's what I teach when I get to do an outreach program for young people interested in music. That I know NSAI's bumper stickers say it all begins with a song. And I agree. For an artist, you're nowhere without a hit song. For a writer, it all begins with an idea, because without that idea, there's no song. And to me, that's the most precious thing in the songwriting community. It's a great idea. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to be worked out well. Let's see what it is. George Strait. Thank you. That's good. So I did not know who George Strait was. He was 7 or 8 years into his career when I first heard his name. And he lived right up the road from me. I was in San Antonio on the northwest side. He was right up there in San Marcos, Texas, which is just a couple of towns up I-35, and I did not know who he was. He had gold albums and big #1 songs, and it was a big deal, but I did not know that. And when Irv Woolsey, his manager, called me and told me that George wanted to record one of my songs, I didn't know who he was. But I was really broke because the band had broken up, and that was my life for so many years. I knew nothing else. And I ended up filling the gap by selling oranges off the back of my Suburban out on a farm to market road around San Antonio. I came home one day, and Irv Woolsey had called my famous answering machine and said, George Strait wants to record one of your songs, which had been got to him by mistake from a friend of mine in Texas, who brought tapes up every year and dropped them off, but he did not intend to drop that off. He just did by complete accident. But anyway, I didn't know who George was, but I was selling oranges, so I thought, well, whoever he is, if he does any good with my song, maybe he'll send me like $500, And I thought, that'd be great. That's a lot of oranges. I could go into business for myself. And so I said, yeah, go ahead, and let him record it. About a year went by. No $500 check. I thought, well, I guess that George guy didn't make it. Well, later on, I got this check in the mail from BMI for more than my house was worth. I called BMI. I said, I think you just sent me, I said, Robert Plant's check for Stairway to Heaven or something. And I knew it was a mistake. It had to be, because it was an amount of money I never even dreamed of. And they told me, no, that's yours. That's from that George Strait song, went #1. And I was about to hang up. It was Harry Warner that I was talking to over at BMI at the time. And he said, that's yours. And he said, by the way, those will be coming about every 3 months now, right? And I had no idea. I was expecting $500. So it was life-changing. Sometimes people talk about my success and congratulate me. And I just say simply, well, I got a good horse. If I could take a little time here to talk about the Bluebird Cafe. First of all, if you haven't been here and experienced it, get out your GPS thing and start planning your trip, because you've got to see this. The thing about the Bluebird is you can pay $182 to go see somebody in an arena and be one of 60,000 people. And that's awesome. You can also come to the Bluebird and hear the songs that you would hear at that arena by the artists being sung by the people who wrote them. And the big difference to me is at the Bluebird, these songwriters, these artists, they will sing to you and with you instead of at you. A lot of shows, these people sing at you. They can't interact. They're just working off of the energy of all those people. And the thing about the Bluebird is it's intimate. You get in here, you can interact. There's no hurry to get out the back door and have security. It's just like in your living room. That's it for songwriters. We don't get in the arenas. We're the dark matter behind the stars out there that make them shine a little bit brighter, but we're not celebrities. So here at the Bluebird, we're superstars, man. We're it. And people treat us that way. I really want to thank the Bluebird for having me be part of this and having me in here today. And also City National Bank, who's sponsoring this whole thing. We really, really appreciate them. These guys are not only supporting this, but by doing that, they're supporting every songwriter that's part of it and keeping this thing going. So thank you, City National Bank. I'm Aaron Barker, and this is Hook, Line, and Sinker.